Well, in case you somehow have not heard the news, one of the biggest figures in all of LoL esports is stepping away from it. Travis Gafford has announced that after 14 years of covering League of Legends, he's stepping away. He will still be around in the space. He's not just like up and leaving, but he's going to Magic the Gathering and Riftbound, the trading card game, which those of us that have been following his content for a bit, we all kind of knew this was coming, but the timing of it definitely is a little odd, or at least compared to the expectations that I had for this year. In case you've been out of the loop, because by all means, I've been watching the numbers on Travis's channel. I know that they've been dropping a little bit, so there's some people that haven't really been following. He started his career, at least in the space that I've been familiar with interviews. Interviewing players, interviewing Riot, asking some of the questions that we wanted to see asked to Riot Games, to players, at least giving them a voice, and he is probably the biggest media person in the space. Like Ashley Kang is the only one that I think that ever really kind of came close in terms of numbers. Obviously not on her YouTube videos compared to his total YouTube content kind of blew hers out of the water, but like he was the guy. If you wanted like league interviews, league content, he was the one that you went to if you weren't looking for a specific player. But if you wanted to see that player talk, it was still likely on his channel. But interviews over the last, I don't know, I mean, it's been declining ever since I started coming into the space. They become less and less popular, and you could see the numbers dripping year over year over year, and that also bled into Hotline League as well, to the point where this past year the numbers were lower. And I'm not going to speak on his passion. Go watch his 20-minute video. He talks about everything there, but like it was very clear as a viewer for a long time watching in that his time in LoL esports was eventually coming to an end. It was just a matter of when. For me personally, I was expecting him to probably go until the end of next year and make it through to when like the last Worlds was in North America, and that be his like farewell tour, and then he sends League kind of off into its own thing. For it to come a year and a half early, for it to come not only like a year early, but in the middle of this calendar year for North America, it's not surprising when you look at the volume output, but it is surprising just of like the timing. It's like, I just thought it would come later, if I'm being honest. But hey, if there's a lesson to be taken away from his stepping away in general, and I can tell you, speaking from experience on that one as well, like when the passion's gone, the passion's gone, and you can't fake it. Like it's as simple as that. If you don't want to do something, or you want to pursue elsewhere, or your mind's elsewhere, or just thinking about different things, it comes across very clear, especially when you're on camera. So him stepping away to focus on the things that he enjoys, and clearly he loves Magic, loves the trading card game area, Brandon Sanderson books, all that stuff. Like by all means, go do what you love. But there is no denying that this is a sign of a much bigger problem. Even if Travis isn't explicitly stepping away because he hates League of Legends esports and like hates the LTA and everything else there, him going away is just another launch point for more fans to step back. An important part of this whole ecosystem, beyond just the games, is providing outlets for people to receive supplemental content, because it is marketing for the game and speaks to demand for what people want to see. And when it comes to Travis's content for the interviews and like that specific side of things, without it being creator specific, yeah, unfortunately, the demand has been dropping. I'd be curious to know what his numbers would have been like this year had the LTA not swapped to the LTA and had it been the LCS, because this has been talked about a billion times over, but it really does mess with your ability to post a video and be like, hey, LCS Pro X, when that would get 20 times the views of what LTA Pro X is, when people don't care or don't know about the LTA. And there was a thing that I picked up on in his videos about like a year and a half or 2 years ago, give or take, where he would start saying this thing where if he's talked about a problem, it was like, okay, I don't want to beat a dead horse. Or he would like try and just move on and like talk about the next thing, because he doesn't want to keep lambasting certain problems. And the reality is, for this space, you kind of have to lambast those problems over and over and over again until you're blue in the face and something changes in a positive direction. You could tell he was getting over the fight, because there is a fight to be had in North America if you want to see this space succeed, because of the amount of terrible decisions that are made. He called that out, and it's worth noting that, yeah, that fight's not going to get any easier as time goes on. Before I look into the future and try and like think about what the space is going to look like without him, I do want to take a second to give Travis my thanks. I've talked about this on the podcast and a few other areas, but it's always worth repeating. Travis has done a lot for those of us that are upcoming creators in the space. I mean, you hear a lot of the stories about like Brody and like the people that were cameramen for him or like behind the scenes that went on to do great things. Now Drew is also with him, or well, was with Travis Gafford Industries, is now like doing his own content, was featuring in Team Liquid videos as well. This guy has been a voice behind the scenes advocating for those of us upcoming. The World's 2022 Red Bull event that I did with them, that'll probably be the thumbnail for this video if I can find pictures of it from way back then. I wouldn't have got that had it not been for him. He pitched to Red Bull and was like, hey, this is this David guy that you should have your eyes on. Whenever I was just posting stuff on TikTok, I hadn't posted a single YouTube video, or I think I was doing like the podcast at that point. I had like 50 subscribers here, but like TikTok was my thing and not many brands were like seeing it, especially in the esports space. And Travis was like the go-to guy for the longest period of time. And the fact that he would push them in my direction in any way, shape, or form was much appreciated. And I know from the outside looking in, there were people that thought that like Travis hated me in some way, shape, or form. And I can't speak to how he specifically viewed me, but I would just say I always viewed him as an older brother in this space, somebody that I personally looked up to early on when I was just getting started. I mean, he noticed me whenever I posted to Twitter about like Hotline League viewership, team, social media, all this. I posted about it and he brought me on to do some behind the scenes work in tracking all of the interviews and the numbers by player, by team from his channel for a split to see, was there a correlation between certain teams getting higher viewership, certain players, like how big was the discrepancy between them? It was just a bunch of data digging. It was very easy to do, and I'm sure AI could easily do that same thing now that I probably could, or that I was doing back then, but I appreciated him doing that. He gave me a $25 RP gift card, which was more than fair for the amount of work that I was, or like more than fair for what was going on, and gave me a shout out with everything. And it's like, it was small things like that that he would reach out to people who were passionate in the community and try and give them opportunities in any way, shape, or form that he could, or pass that information along to other people. When we go to events, I was always bantering with him anytime that I could. It was all in good fun for me. Like I said, older brother, little brother type thing. I'm not sure if that's always how he took it, but at a minimum, that's how I always tried to keep it. And I know I can be loud and bombastic and, you know, a little bit more boisterous in how I talk relative to his a little bit more calm, collected, more journalistic style, or at least like he always delivered stuff in a way that I always saw like David Muir of like ABC News like trying to talk about things. Like you could tell whenever he would get angry or get like frustrated with things, it would be a little bit more rare that he'd let those times out. And he would get frustrated with me on occasion, but for the most part, I feel like, I don't know, it was a good relationship, all things considered. I only got to see him a few times whenever he was realistically in the Northeast, or whenever I was traveling for Worlds 2022. I wish I could have honestly went out to dinner with him. And Travis, if you see this, anytime you're in New York and you want to grab food, you let me know. Always down. But you always see the comments on Twitter and on YouTube and Reddit whenever his name gets brought up, of people like openly shitting on him. And I can't speak for other people's opinions of him or experiences with him, but I will just say mine is that he's done so much good for the up and coming creators in this space, and he has paved the way for a lot of us to have opportunities that we would not have elsewhere. And for that, we owe him a great deal of gratitude. As for what's next, look, I'm going to call in the Hotline League here in about 2 hours, like the final episode of Hotline League, and talk to Travis a little bit. I would go check out that VOD if it's posted. I'll put down in the description the timestamp of where it's at on that particular VOD. But there's a question to be had of what's next now. I saw conversations already popping up of like, oh, well, we need a talk show where people can call in. And I'm not going to lie to you, the takes on Hotline League as of late have been a little bit more dull. Like the show has become less interesting for me as a viewer to watch, because I don't feel like there's these spicy takes that are like as passionate, whether that's, you know, Covey and Travis pulling people different from like what I want from the show, or whether that's people like, we lost a lot of kind of like the hype people that came with having 500,000 people at the same time watching. Like now we're down to 50K. And when you lose 450K people, it's like those hot takes and the people that would call into these shows, they dampen a little bit. But I still feel like there is a need for that type of content in the space, but it's not right for anybody to step in and do it just yet. It will feel like capitalizing on Travis, like not even Travis stepping away, but I don't know. It doesn't feel right. Like for me, you got to let these things kind of like die down and then reassess towards the later stages. Like going into next year, we reassess and be like, okay, you know, who's going to step up and possibly carry that mantle if the time comes. But in general, like what does the creator space now look like without Travis in it for the league space. Like, I don't know who the biggest North American league creator that's not like a direct team person is at this point. You know, when we were thinking about like Bjergsen and Doublelift like stepping away, it was always like, okay, well, if Bjergsen leaves, you have Doublelift. If Doublelift leaves, you have Bjergsen. We weren't expecting them to retire in the same year, but like there was always this kind of cascading thought of like, who's next up? Who's going to like carry that mantle? And I don't know. It's not my position to speak on it either, given that I'm involved with everything. But what I personally want to see, and what I think this signal or shows to a lot of people, is that I don't think there's any individual creators that can fill the hole that was kind of left. Even though obviously he has like taken a pretty big step back over the last year, the lack of Travis in the space will be felt. And I don't think there's like a journalist that will ever like step up and kind of do that. In my opinion, what the scene needs most as a result of this is we need a lot of the smaller creators, myself included, to start collabing with other creators and try and like combine our voices, combine our reach to try and grow things. Think of, for those that follow Call of Duty, think of the Flank. Think of the Optic co-stream. Even though there are names that are headlining it, like Scump, like Zuma, there's a supporting crew around that, and the crew is what makes the experience a little bit more fun. It gives you people to bounce ideas off of. And right now, I feel like with the League of Legends space, we are a bunch of fragmented, smaller creators all together that have not found a way to join our efforts together. And I think a lot of that is partially due to timing, because like speaking for myself here, I do have a full-time job and a second job, and like I can't sit here and make League a primary thing. This is all like until money goes up, which I don't see that happening anytime in the near future. Like, this is a side thing for me, which is part of the benefit of why I don't have to worry about some of the same things that Travis did. But I do think that myself and others need to collaborate more and try and help boost the space that Travis and others help create, that hopefully we can carry the torch on, assuming that Riot Games doesn't burn it to the ground and doesn't revert back the LTA name change and so much more. I don't want it to go that route. But to wrap all this up, and I'm trying to think of like any other like questions that people will have, because I had people tweet at me to make this video and talk about it. No, I'm not turning the crossover podcast or anything like that into Hotline League. Does this mean that NA is doomed? No, but it is a sign of the times, and that we are still on the death spiral and not currently able to buck the trend elsewhere. I have faith that we have some people involved in the space that can help turn it around, but we need a lot more than just a few good ideas and a few faces saying the right things. And if I missed anything here, put it down in the comments and I'll reply. But it is a sad day in North American League. One that the diehards of us definitely saw coming, but that doesn't mean it made it any easier. So to Travis, again, thank you for everything over the last 14 years of you covering LoL Esports, over the last, 8 years of me being involved in this space in any capacity. I owe you more gratitude than I can show or say in this moment. I especially owe you a drink next time you're in town, or if you're making a lot of money from Magic and Riftbound, maybe, you can buy. That's all I'm saying. Like, we'll still be in the league space, and you know how the finances of that are working. But regardless, thank you, man. Your years will always be appreciated, and you were a source of entertainment for thousands of us, and we will miss you. Hope to see you at Worlds next year.